Psalm 20, 1 and 2. I'll start at the very beginning. For the director of music, a psalm of David. May the Lord answer you when you are in distress. May the name of the God of Jacob protect you. May he send you help from the sanctuary and grant you support from Zion. Since the beginning of time, God has always had the plan for his people to meet with him and to have a place to dwell in, so that his presence might be there. Now, if we look in the Bible, we'll find a couple of references to housing, to edifices where God shows up. In the book of Genesis, we find Adam. God created what was called a garden for Adam. And the Bible tells us that God walked with Adam in the cool of the day. Now, what was going on here? Adam was having conversations with the Lord as they walked along together. And God tells Adam, this is why you're here. This is what I've placed you here for. This is what this is for. I'm here to give you your identity. I'm here to give you who you are. I'm here to tell you who you are and what you're going to be. Adam in the garden. We then find later on in the Old Testament, Moses in what was called the Tent of Meeting. This was the place where the Israelites and the Hebrews were to worship the Lord. It was a moving tent as they wandered along. And in the book of Psalm, we find David in his pavilion. There was no temple yet because Solomon was to build the temple. So if we look through the Old Testament, primarily the first half of it, we're going to find places where God instituted and places that God had set up in order for himself to show up. Anywhere that God shows up becomes holy. Any place where his Spirit moves, it becomes holy. Any place where he decides and deems worthy to enter, it becomes holy. As I walk through the door, I sense his presence, and I knew this was the place where love abounds. For this is the temple. Jehovah God abides here. And we're standing in his presence on holy ground. Wherever I show up, it becomes holy. Wherever I choose to manifest, it becomes holy. Because I'm perfect, and when I show up in an edifice, my perfection performs. My perfection shows up. My perfection touches you. My perfection makes you new. And with my perfection, I'll change you so that you might become the person that you were originally supposed to be. There is something about the time frame when God shows up. It is a mere mortal work before God shows up. And God says, I see what you're doing, and I'm watching what you're doing, but something is going to happen when I decide to show up, when you praise me, when you worship me, when you call upon me, and when you exclaim me. Something is going to happen when I show up in your midst. I'm going to touch you. I'm going to heal you. I'm going to make you new. I'm going to make you to become the people that I've called you to be, and nothing will stop it because I've done it. You see, there's no place like this place. There's no house like this house. See, because throughout our day, we go through things, we deal with things. I don't know, maybe somebody in here today has just dealt with something. Maybe you've just had a stressful day. Maybe you've just been dealing with distress, some discomfort, some pain, some worry, some anxiety, some fear. Something that just wants to get you just a little bit off track of where you're supposed to be. And God says, don't worry, because I have a plan for you. And it's the place called the house. So that you will come into this place called the house in the midst of your distress. And when you come in, the distress is designed to leave. Why? Because I'm here. Because I showed up. And when God shows up, he shows out and he shows off. And God can do anything that he wants to do in this house. He can do anything in a house that chooses to welcome him in. He can do anything in a house that chooses to worship him. He can do anything he wants. And when he does anything he wants, nothing compares to it. Countless times in the book of Psalm, we find David declaring about the sanctuary, declaring about the house. And he says, if you just come into your house, there's a verse that says, I was like a beast before you as I looked at the wicked and as I judged them, as I wondered why they were so successful and why they prospered so. And I was a beast before you. But then I entered into your house, where your glory was, where your presence was, where your power was. And it changed the very thought process that he previously had. There's something about this house. There's something about his house that changes the way we think. It's clarity that becomes available to us that destroys confusion. It's the demonstration of his work as he destroys depression. It's the pronouncement of his might as he destroys everything that longs to seek and kill and destroy you. And he does it in this house, just at the point when you're in distress, just at the point when you feel that you're going to break, just when you think that's the last straw that's going to break the camel's back. He says, just wait, just hold on, just 1 minute, because right when you walk in here and I show up, I'm going to do something for you that nobody else can do. I'm going to touch you. I'm going to hold you. I'm going to tell you that I love you. And when it's all said and done, you will be different. He said, I'm going to take a name that's before my time. I'm going to take a name that's before your time. But you're all going to know it. You're all going to know this name because it's who we came from. And I'm going to show you that a name that came from the past is attached to something else. It's attached to the protection of God. He protected Jacob back then, and he protects me now. He took Moses and the children of Israel out of Egypt, protected them, kept them in the land of Goshen, and he protects us now. He watched over them. He moved the Red Sea and parted it so that they might go free and escape Egyptian bondage. And he did it back then, and he's going to do it now. What God does, he does forever. If he did it back then, he's going to do it even now. If he protected back then, he's going to protect you even now. So don't worry and don't be distressed and don't be alarmed. Because there's never a time in your life where God is ever going to say, I think I'm just going to stop protecting you now. No, see, what I do forever. And what I say forever. So if I protected Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and Moses, and Elijah, and everybody else, I'm going to protect you. Because I promised that I will. It would be contrary to my character if I did not protect you. It would be the complete opposite of what I do if I chose to stop protecting you, if I chose to stop providing for you, because I am Jehovah Jireh, the God that provides. I am Jehovah Shammah, the God who is your peace. I'm Jehovah Rapha, the God who is your healer. These characteristics and these attributes of what I am don't change. I'm immutable. I'm immortal. I'm eternal. And what I am will not change. Never. The great Charles Haddon Spurgeon, who was the Prince of Preachers, said it this way: troubles roar like thunder, but the believer's voice will be heard above the storm. Troubles roar like thunder, but the believer's voice will be heard above the storm. There's something about your praise, there's something about your worship that rides up above the storm and is louder and roars louder than the storm that is coming your way. The third thing, for the reason why this edifice is here, is because the word lives here. Pastor's been saying lately that it's the place, it's the housing, it's where the place where the prophetic word lives. It's the place when this word becomes real. And it no longer is logos, but it becomes rhema. And we begin to eat of it, and we begin to feed on it, and we begin to become healthy, and we begin to be on this amazing diet of spirituality that comes out of the word. Why? Because it's here. Because it's a prophetic voice. It lives in this house. This is the reason why this place, there's everything that you need in the house. And I'm just going to venture to say that there's everything and help that you need in this house. That when he shows up, he shows himself mighty. When he shows up, he shows himself strong. He says, if you just show up, I'm going to show you who I am. And it's our opportunity to come in here and to worship him and to extol him and to exalt him and to tell him who he is with everything that we have, with the very fiber of our being, with the very core of our existence, to say, this is who you are, and I give you praise and I give you worship right now because you are worthy of it. There is no one else that's worthy of it, only you. There's no one else that deserves my praise except you. You are my praise. You're the song my heart keeps singing. You're my praise. I can't help but praise his name when I walk in here. I can't help but give him worship when I walk in here. Somebody needs to clap right now. It's time that we give him all praise, all glory, all worship, because he and he alone is worthy of it, and no one else is. This is why I showed up. This is why I demonstrate myself, and this is why I extend my power to you, because when I extend my power to you, I'm going to touch you like nobody else can, and I'm going to do something for you like nobody else can. I will touch you in a way that nobody else will, and I'll tell you who I am, and I'll give you everything that you need when you come in my